Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to discuss about the landed cost in Odoo 17 inventory module. So landed cost is the additional charges or the customs or the duties that apply to the original price of the product. We know we never get anything for free. So in order to reach the product from the suppliers or manufacturer, they will charge a transportation charge, or they will just take the custom duties or some other charges along with the product price. So these charges are known as landed cost. To manage with the landed cost, we need to ensure that the products are having a costing method of first in first out or average costing method, which has an inventory valuation as automated. And Odoo also provides different split methods to compute the landed cost, such as equal, by weight, by volume, and by current cost. So let's check the functionality of using landed cost in Odoo 17 inventory module. To manage with the landed cost, let's get into the inventory module, and under the configuration settings, we need to enable the landed cost. So we can find the landed cost under the section called valuation, where we can just manage with the landed cost, and this adds the additional cost of the transportations or custom duties in the value of the product. Here we can also set a default journal. So I'm going to choose the default journal as inventory valuation, and this will be affecting on the landed cost on the reception operations and split them among the product to update their cost price. So as we have just enabled the landed cost, let's move on to the operations, and here we can find the landed cost. So here we can see all the created landed cost, and if you want to create a new landed cost, you can just click on new button, where you can just set the date, transfers that to apply the landed cost, as well as the vendor bills and all. Now here we can also choose the additional cost, that is the custom duties or the transportations, or simply we can say that the landed cost to be applied for the transfers. And under the valuation, you can also find the landed cost that is affected for each of the product. Now this is a method that could find in previous version also. But in Odoo 17, we have a new feature, like to manage with the landed cost, we can make use it from the purchase module itself. So we can also manage the landed cost for manufacturing also. But for the time being, we will be only explaining for the reception of the products, like the landed cost dealing for the reception of the products. And we will be explaining the landed cost for manufacturing orders through another video. Now let's move on to the purchase modules to see how the landed cost can be managed. For that, first we have to just create a purchase order. So I'm going to choose the vendor over here. So let me choose my vendor, Abigail Peterson, and with the product, speaker and mic. So I want 2 speakers over here, where you can see the cost is updated, and let me remove the tags. And later on, I also need to buy mic, where you can see the price, as well as I only want 1 quantity of mic. So let me remove the tax over here, because I don't want to apply any taxes. So you can also get into the internal link of the product and remove the tags from here. And also keep in mind that we can only manage the landed cost for the product categories having the costing method as FIFO or average costing method. So we need to ensure that. So let's get into the product categories over here. And here you can see the costing method is set to first in first out, or you can also change the costing method into average costing method. For the time being, I'll be using the costing method as first in first out. Now let's save it, and let's make the order. And we need to receive the item into the stock, and later on we will be adding the landed cost for this product. So for that, let's take the order that we are just dealing with, and now let's confirm the order. Oh wow, we have just done with the order. Now we need to just receive the item into our stock. For that, you can just click on receive product, and now we need to just enter the item into the stock. For that, you can just click on validate button, and keep in mind that you need to consider the reference number for the transfers. And now we also need to create the bill for this. And let's click on create bill, where we can just create the vendor bill, and we also need to consider the reference number of the bill. So in order to create the bill, also need to ensure that we have just provided the bill date. Now we can just confirm that, and here you would be able to find the bill with its year, month, and reference. Now let's create a new RFQ for the landed cost. So here you can choose the vendor, that is Abigail Peter, where you can just set the product. So here to manage with the landed cost, now let's get into the product and let's find the general informations. Like we need to set the product type as service, where you can set the cost or the landed costs that you need to affect over here. And under the purchase tab, we also need to ensure this product as landed cost. So in order to ensure that, you can set it as is a landed cost. Now let's move on to the quotation that we are dealing with. Now let's confirm the order. Now we can just create the bill. So as you just try to create a bill, here you can see that a button called create landed cost. So let's create a landed cost for the transfer. We can just apply the transfer over here. So I'm going to choose the transfer, where I also need to set the reference. So let me choose the reference over here, that is bill 2024-3 with the reference of 4. And here you can see that Odoo provides different split methods. Like we can just apply the landed cost based on different split methods, such as equal, by quantity, by current cost, by weight, by volume, and so on. So let's choose the landed cost based on equal. And let me apply this and click on compute. And as I just click on compute, I can find the valuation adjustments over here. So here you can see that we have two products in the order line, and the computer speaker with 2 quantity and mic with 1 quantity. The original value of mic is just 1000 with 1 quantity, and here we know the cost of computer speaker is just 500. But as we have 2 quantities, we know 2 into 500 will be 1000, and the original value will be setting to 1000. And here you can see the new value. So the new value is just updated into 1060 for each. And here you can see that the additional landed cost is 60. We know the applied landed cost is 120, but as we just use the equal method, that is a split method as equal, the landed cost will be equally split among the products. So here you can see that landed cost can be calculated in such a way that transportation divided by number of products in the order line. So here we have number of products, no matter with the quantities that we have just ordered. So here we can say that the landed cost is 120 and divided by number of products is just 2. So we will get additional landed cost as 60 for each of the product. Now that landed cost will be added with each product. So the product 1 is computer speaker. So landed cost plus original value of computer speaker will be 1160. And we know product 2 is mic, and the landed cost is 60. And it has got an original value of 1000. So 1000 plus 60 will be 1060. Now let's validate this order. So as we just review the products here, you can see that the cost of the product will be now updated. So as you just consider the product mic, we know the cost that we have just set was 1000, and including the landed cost, now the cost is now just updated to 1060. As we have only just purchased 1 quantity of mic, the price will be turned to 1060 for 1 unit. And now let's consider the product speaker. And we know here we have just purchased 2 quantity of speaker, and the on-hand quantity is just updated into 2. And we know the previous cost of the product speaker was just 500. And as we just purchased 2 speakers, including the landed cost, we know the price has just turned into 1060. And we know the cost of 1 unit then will be 530, and the cost is now updated here. Now let's see how can we manage with the landed cost by split method. For that, first we have to create a new quotation where you can just choose the vendor. So let me choose the vendor as Anita Oliver, where we are just going to purchase different items such as laptop, and we want iPhone. So you can set the number of quantities that you want. So let's set the quantity over here. So here we want 2 laptop and one iPhone where you can just save that. So here we don't need to apply any taxes. So let me remove the taxes for the time being. And let's save this and receive the item into the stock. So we have set everything. So confirm the order, and later on we can just receive the item into the stock. For that, we can just validate the process, where we also need to consider the reference number of the reception. And now we also need to consider the bill reference number. So for that, we have to create the bill. And before creating the bill, we have to just provide the mandatory field, which is bill date. And let me confirm this later on. We can just consider the bill reference number ends with 6. Now we need to create the landed cost based on split method quantity. For that, first we have to create a new RFQ. So where you can just use the vendor as Anita Oliver, and we have to just use the transportation or the landed cost, and the unit price of this landed cost is 100, and we don't need to apply the tax for the landed cost. And let's confirm this. Later on, we need to create the bill, and we have to create the landed cost from here, where we can just apply the reference number over here. Now you can just search and choose the bill, that is bill with reference 6 is the one that we are just going to deal with. And let me save the landed cost, and here we have to just change the split method by quantity. So these landed cost will be calculated based on quantity. Later on, you can just go with the computation. And under the valuation adjustment, you can see that the cost lines with the transportation, product, and everything. So here you can see that the cost of the laptop were just for 100, and for iPhone, it's just $100. So as we just purchased 2 quantities of the laptop, here the original value will be updated, and that will be set to 2 into 400 will be 800. And here you can see that as we just purchased 1 quantity of iPhone, 1 into 100 will be 100 itself. And here you can also find the new value. So here first we have to just find the calculation based on split method quantity. So here the sum of ratio of the quantity is 3. So here we have 2 quantity of laptop and 1 quantity of iPhone. So 2 is to 1, and when we just consider the sum, it will be 3. And now we need to just consider the landed cost. So in order to consider the landed cost, we have to just consider the original value of iPhone is just $100, and let's divide it with sum of ratio of quantity. So 100 divided by, the sum of ratio of quantity is 3. So 100 divided by 3 will get in 33.33, and we can just get the landed cost for 1 quantity of iPhone over here. Now let's subtract this landed cost from the landed cost, that is the actual value of landed cost. So the actual value of landed cost is just 100. So as you just subtract 100 minus 33.66, you will get the landed cost as 66.67 for the product laptop. And here we have 2 quantity. So actually for 1 quantity, the landed cost will be again 33.33. As we have just 2 quantity, the landed cost would be set to 66.67. Now let's validate the process, and let's review the products. So let's move on to the products, and here you can just consider the product laptop, where you can see that now the cost has just updated into 433.34 for 1 unit, and we know the price or the cost of the laptop wage is 400, and if it's 2 quantity, it will be 800.66. 866.66 will be the cost of 2 quantity of laptop, including the landed cost. Now let's move on to the products and find the product iPhone. And here you can see that the product cost is now just updated into 133.33, because we know the cost of the iPhone wage is $100, and as we just added the landed cost, the cost is now just updated. So let's see how can we manage the landed cost based on current cost. For that, let's create an RFQ for the product keyboard as well as for mouse, where you can choose the vendors. I'm going to choose the vendor as Azure Interior for the products keyboard and mouse with the quantities and all. So I want two quantity of keyboard and one quantity of mouse. So let me change the quantity of keyboard into two. And later on, we don't need to apply the taxes for this product, so you can just neglect the taxes. And later on, we can just confirm and receive the item into the stock. And save the RFQ. And now let's confirm the order. And we need to receive the item into the stock where you can just validate this process. And you also need to keep in mind with the reference number, because while dealing with the landed cost, we have to consider the reference number of the transfers. Now let's create the bill for this. And for that, you can just click on create bill and let's confirm the bill by setting the vendor bill date, which is mandatory field. And now let's confirm. And here you can see the bill reference number also. Now we also need to create new RFQ in order to calculate the landed cost for these product, where you can choose the vendor and the product also. So let me choose a landed cost product, that is a transportation, and here we can see the price and all, but we don't need to apply the taxes for the landed cost, so that you can just neglect that. Later on you can see this document and you can click on create landed cost, so that you can just apply the landed cost for the transfers. So here we can just provide the transfer reference number, where you can also choose the bill, that is the vendor bill, and here you can choose the split method. So here we are just going to calculate the landed cost based on current cost. So as you just set the split method, you can save this and later on you can just click on compute. And under the valuation, now you can find the calculations over here, and we will be calculating this based on the current cost. And you can see that the product price is just set to 100, and the so the actual cost of the product keyboard is for 100, as we just bought two quantity of keyboard. Here you can see that the original value is now updated into 800, that is 2 into 400 will be 800. Now here you can see the new value is just updated into 888.89 and 111.11 for the product mouse as well as for keyboard respectively. Now let's find the calculation. So in order to calculate the landed cost based on current cost, here the current cost is 800 for the product keyboard and 100 for the product mouse. So we have to just consider the sum of the ratio of the current cost. So as you just consider the sum of the ratio, like it can be seen as 100 is to 800, that is 1 is to 8, and the sum of this current cost will be 9. Now as you just subtract, not subtraction, as you just divide 800 divided by 9, you will be getting 88.89, and 100 divided by 9 will be getting 11.11. Now let's validate this landed cost and let's review the products. For that, you can just move on to the products. In the products, as you just move on to the keyboard, here you can see that now the cost has now just updated. We know the total cost of two product were 888 point something, and for one quantity of keyboard it will be 444.45, and in case of mouse, here you can see that the product cost is now just updated into 111.11. Now let's see how can we make use of the landed cost by using the split method weight. So here we need to set the weight for this product, which is corner desk, right seat, as well as for the customizable desk. So as you just get into the product form, here under the inventory, you can find a section called to set the weight. So the corner desk, right seat has a weight of 8 kg, and the customizable desk, customized cabinet has a weight of 2. And we have just designated that. And now let's create a new RFQ, where you can just create the RFQ by setting the vendor, where I'm going to choose a vendor as Jenny, and here you can choose a product which is corner desk, and here we know the other product is just a customized cabinet. So let me choose the corner desk with 2 quantity, and later on we can just confirm the order and we can just receive the item into the stock, where we can just click on validate button to enter the item into our stock. So we also need to consider the reference number of the reception. Then we also need to create the vendor bill. So when we just try to create the vendor bill, you can just confirm the vendor bill and need to consider the reference number. So let me set the bill reference date and confirm the um, bill, and later on we have to consider the bill reference number also. Now let's calculate the landed cost by weight. So for that you can just designate the vendor. So we can choose the vendor that is Jenny, and here we can also choose a product that is transportation. So here you can just search for transportation and choose the landed cost product, and we know that is a service product. Later on we can just confirm the order, and we can create the bill where we can just create the landed cost. And here we have to set the transfer and we also need to give the bill reference number, where we can just change the split method into by weight, and later on we can just save this and we can just compute the calculations. So under the valuation adjustment, here you would be able to find the change, and here you can see that the quantity is just set to 2, and the quantity for customized cabinet is 1. And here we know corner desk right sit has a weight of 8 and customized cabinet has a weight of 2. And here we need to consider like the sum of ratio of the weight. So here we know the sum of the ratio of the weight can be calculated as 2 is the weight of customized cabinet, and we know there is 2 quantity of corner desk right sit. So 2 into and 8 is the weight actually with 2 quantity. So 2 into 8 will be 16, and 16 is to 2. That is the weight of customized cabinet is 2. Now altogether we will get the sum as 80. Now we can just consider. So the landed cost can be calculated with the equation of transportation charge multiplied by weight into quantity divided by sum of ratio of weight. So here we know the transportation or the landed cost is 100 into corner desk has 2 quantity. So 2 into weight of the corner desk right sit is 8. So altogether we will get 16, and we can just divide it by 18, and which gives a result of 88.89. And for the product customized cabinet, we know there is only 1 quantity with a weight of 2. So 100 into 2 divided by 18 would give a result of 11.11. And that is the additional cost that need to be added with the product. So here we know the original value of the product, corner desk right sit is 1,200. And along with that, we will add the price of the landed cost, that is 88.89, and altogether we get 1,288.89. And for the product customized cabinet, we know the original value is 175.50, and we will add the landed cost 11.11, and altogether we get 186.61. Now let's review the products. So in order to review the product, first we need to validate this landed cost, and as you just review the product here, you would be able to find the updated cost, and here you can see the updated cost of the corner desk right sit for 1 quantity will be 644.45, and we know the total cost for 2 quantity will be 1,288.89. So that is for 2 quantity. Here we only need to consider the cost of 1 quantity of corner desk right sit. Now let's move on to the product customized cabinet, where you can find the actual price that is given under the landed cost itself. Now let's see how can we manage the landed cost based on the split method volume. For that, we can just consider the product cable management box and drawer black. So here under the inventory tab, we can just set the volume of the product. Table management has a volume of 6. And now let me move on to the other product, that is drawer black, that has got the weight of 3. And later on we can just create the RFQ. So first let's create an RFQ where you can set the vendor. I'm going to choose the same vendor, that is Jenny, where you can choose a product which is Drover Black with one quantity, and I want cable management box with two quantity. Now let's confirm the order. Later on we can just receive the item into the stock, where we also need to consider the reference number. Now in order to enter the product, we can just click on validate. Before that, we need to just provide a lot and serial number for our product. So in order to set the lot and serial number, here you can just provide the load number, or we can just import the load. So let me provide it as 101, and let's generate. And Drover Black is with one quantity, and we can just save that. And we want cable management box with two quantity, where we can just set it as a 1101 for two quantity as the load or serial number, and later on we can just save that. Now we can just click on validate so that we can just receive the item into the stock. Now we also need to create the bill for this. Now click on create bill so that we can just confirm the bill, and we need to set the bill date, and now let's confirm that. And we also need to consider the bill reference number. Now let's see how can we create the landed cost by split method volume. For that, you can just consider the vendor over here, that is Jenny, where you can just use a landed cost product which is a transportation with the price is updated over here. Later on you can just confirm the order, confirm the RFQ, and here we can just create the bill. And here we can see the landed cost button. So we need to create the landed cost for the reference. So we can just provide the reference number, and we can also choose the vendor bill. Later on, we can just change the split method by volume, and we can just save the landed cost. Later on, we can just click on compute so that computation will be done. And under the valuation, here you can see the calculation is done. And here you can see that the quantity for Drover Black is just 1, and the cable management box is 2. And the original value for the Drover Black is 20, and the cable management box is 180 for two quantity. Actually 90 where the price or the cost of cable management box. So 90 into 2 will be 180. And here we can see the new value as 40 and 260. And now let's find the calculation. So here we know that we have just given the volume of the product as 3 as well as 6 respectively for each of the product. And we need to consider the sum of the ratio of the product. So sum of the ratio of ratio of volume can be calculated as the volume of Drover Black is 3, and cable management boxes 6, and we know here there is 2 quantity. So 6 into 2 is to 3. So landed cost can be calculated with the equation landed cost into volume into quantity divided by sum of ratio of volume. So here the landed cost of Drover Black will be, we know the landed cost is just 100 into volume is 3 into 1 quantity, and that would give a result of 600 divided by the sum of ratio of volume is 15, and that would give a result of 20. So when you just add 20 with the original value, you will get new value as 40. Now, the landed cost of cable management box can be calculated with landed cost as 100 into the volume of cable management boxes 6 with a quantity of 2, and that would give a result of 1000 to 100. And we know the sum of ratio of the volume is 15. So when we just consider 1200 divided by 15, that would give a result of 80. So when 80 is added with the original value of the product, here you can see 180 will be updated, and new value will be set to 260. Now let's validate this process, and let's review the cost of the product. So as you just move on to the cable management box, here you can see that the cost is now just updated into 130. And this is because the total landed cost that updated for 2 quantity is 260. So here we have 2 quantity. So as you just divide 260 divided by 2, you will get 130 for 1. unit or one quantity of cable management box. Cost of the drawer black also can be calculated and updated under the cost field. So that's all about dealing with the landed cost in Odoo 17 inventory. So I hope this video clarifies how to compute the landed cost on your product. So hope this concept is clear for you. As always, stay awesome and thank you for watching the video.